Hello, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Do You Expect Us to Talk? It is commentary again. It's last thing we did a commentary as well.
I think the last two
Um,
things were. Oh no, it was a book, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did the book review, and now we are back with a
oh yes,
commentary.
yes, we did. Yeah, we did Live and Let Die. Speaking
We
of
did.
which, I have actually read Moonraker. So,
Oh,
All
so have
right.
I. I recently finished it.
To be
so
honest, I really don't have a problem if that delays Hitchcock. Not because I don't want to do Hitchcock, but like
you
when
just
you
love
read something,
Moonraker.
you just want to get on with it.
You're chomping at the
If
bit.
Chris has read it, yeah, I'll just like we'll go ahead and do that then.
Yep, sounds good.
But
All
yeah,
right.
no particular rush for it because I can always catch up with the audio. But anyway,
All right.
by the by. So we are doing not Hitchcock, obviously, but this is a bit of a random.
Bloody close to Hitchcock though, when you think of the quality and
We're about
that.
as far away as you can get.
Well, this is a bit of an oddball. Now, did we actually announce to listeners on the Christmas commentary?
No, we said it was going to be a surprise.
Right. Well,
Because you had the
um,
idea. I think one of you, it definitely wasn't me. I think it was Chris. When we were chatting as we finished, or in between bits we cut out and stuff, it was like, we ought to do that. So I was like, all right then.
because so on the Christmas commentary, it was Christmas Vacation. So from the director of Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It is the 90s remake of The Avengers, starring of the 60s TV show.
I was going to say they didn't remake the Avengers 14 years early. That would have been
Yeah.
vision. That would have been
How did they
visionary.
do that? But
Yeah,
no, it's the Ray Fiennes, Uma Thurman, and Sean Connery
yeah,
chewing all the scenery as the villain.
yeah.
Yes, yes. So and I just thought, yeah, what this is right up our street in terms of rank punditry and taking the piss. And so um yeah, I thought, yeah, why not do it?
Why not? It'll
So
be a nice
it's
palate cleanser as well for if
yeah,
we when we do eventually get back into Hitchcock.
yeah.
And I've
Now
done. Go on. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, what is everyone's history with the Avengers, the 60s? Like, did anyone watch the 60s show? Did anyone see this before?
I would say in my case, if you're talking about the 60s show, I've probably seen as much as I've seen of The Saint, which I mean, when you think about it, The Saint got like a follow-up show in the 70s with I'm blanking on his name now, but there was Return of the Saint in the late 70s, which was
Hmm.
being repeated a few years later, early in my childhood. And so Simon Templar to me was that guy. But then obviously I saw some of the Roger Moore stuff as I came to like Bond and things like that.
Ian
And
Ogilvy, that was it.
Ian Ogilvy, that
I
was
had to
it.
look up
And
his name.
yeah, and but I've only seen a handful of episodes of The Saint. Every time I see it, quite like it. I like some of it a bit ironically, shots of Basingstoke with like Nice written underneath. Um, and it would be the same with the Avengers. I've seen bits and pieces. Always thought it was okay. I don't think it's largely, except on the sort of Granada Plus type cable channels we had a few years ago. I don't think it's been repeated a lot on TV in my lifetime somewhere where I'd easily find it. So I don't know a huge amount about it. I know the casts. I know that they came back with the new Avengers with Gareth Hunt and Joanna
Joanna
Lumley.
Lumley, yeah.
One of the favorite, because I remember Jonathan Ross had a chat show in the early 90s that sort of competed with Wogan for a few years. And he had Mel Gibson on there. And he said, Mel, I hear you've bought the rights to the Avengers, which apparently he had at the time. Obviously, I don't know if he ever did anything with them himself or he's involved in this in any way. And he said, so who are you going to play then? The Gareth Hunt character? And Mel Gibson replied, what's a Gareth Hunt? Like it was
Oh God.
like it was rhyming slang or something. Um, that is my entire history. When it comes to this film, never seen it. Now, I have never done a commentary without having seen the film first. The only reason I did it this time was twofold. One, I'm renting it basically, and I thought I don't know if I can watch it through without. But secondly, even when we first mentioned it, I thought I might just not watch this because when it came out, I was like, "Oh, that looks all right. That looks cool." Always quite liked Uma Thurman. Ray Fiennes had done quite a few sort of quite serious things leading into this, so I thought this could be a bit of fun. And then the reviews were so bad, and maybe something came out against it because I was going to the cinema most weeks back then as a student. But maybe something came out else that week, and I just never got around to it. So I've still not seen it. So
Mm.
what I thought I would do, I know what the sort of plot of the film, not the plot, not the whole story, but the
Is there
plan
a
is something.
plot? Really?
Well, the
If you
winter,
can call it a
yeah.
plot?
It does seem a bit like the plot of Batman and Robin, to be honest.
Yes.
Um,
Was it the
and
same year as well?
it's the year after.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But even that, he was Mr. Freeze. This is the winter,
You got Uma
and all that
Thurman.
sort of Uma Thurman, yeah. So I just,
Obviously, he
and
was
the thing
Poison
is,
Ivy.
even though I never put in my mind the fact that Batman and Robin has some similarities, I think in that era I got quite attuned to like bullshit because no doubt I'd have seen trailers,
Oh, mhm.
and Batman and Robin the year before had been so bad, and I was sort of denying the evidence of my own eyes in the trailer, and then I went to see it, and I was like, oh God, this is as bad as I was trying not to believe. And I just think I thought with the Avengers, this does look dead on arrival. It's not remotely what I thought it would be. But where I'm going to struggle, apart from a bit of reading around today, I don't think I know enough about the original show to know whether it's cleaving close to it or not. What about you, Becca?
Mm, so yeah, for me, my yeah journey's been a little bit different. As I say, I've seen there's some classic shows which I would just eat up, but there are some, for example, I just haven't been able to get hold of, sort of like The Saint or The Avengers. Like for example, I think both shows have since been repeated on sort of like Rewind TV, um, that other show, Talking Pictures TV, or those kind of channels that have become really
Oh right,
popular
yeah,
shows,
yeah,
showing
yeah,
like older
yeah.
TV shows.
I know they've tended to appear in sort of like I say, I'm not saying it is Granada Plus, but you know things where you would see
That
the
sort of like
Sweeney as well.
UK Gold and that kind of thing, like older
Yeah,
channels,
yeah.
often on the sort of like the ITV kind of two,
It's
three,
quite
four,
often
those sort of.
it's quite often Granada because they used to pick up stuff that was on the sort of ITV channels,
Yeah,
and
definitely, especially because you
I
had
don't. I
localized
think was the
different versions, didn't you?
Avengers. I'm just looking. Was the Avengers ATV or something like that?
Might
Turning
have
to
been.
the studio.
Yeah,
ABC
depending on your
Television,
local, on your
ABC
regional channel
Films.
is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. For
But
Thames,
yeah,
yeah,
I remember
Thames ITV.
going to see this when it came out. I think purely because I was mildly obsessed with Ray Fiennes at the time. He's very handsome.
So
Still
were a
is,
lot of
still is,
women. He was doing a lot in this time.
still very handsome. Yeah, still nice to look at. Thank you very much. And obviously, kind of being obviously had well, it's not enough coming out the year after. Kind of getting into Bond, that sort of thing. Obviously, don't, Tomorrow Never Dies just come out the year before. Sort of getting into Bond and sort of becoming a young Bond fan, things like that as well.
Mm.
Thinking also be kind of a bit of the same. Obviously, got Sean Connery in it, but at that time I had not really seen the original TV show at all. Like I knew a little bit of it, but I hadn't seen it. Um, it was terrible. But yeah, that's one of the things I've seen, seeing lots of clips on. But I can get a general flavour of the show as well. I think, yeah, I saw this film on release. I think I was more keen about the soundtrack, about the score, than I was about anything else. I'm not sure why. I can't really remember that far back. Um, saw it on release, thinking it was okay, and then unfortunately have not seen it since. Listeners, I can highly recommend if you haven't already, Calvin Dyson's review. Um, if you want, you can pause this, go listen to his review, and then come back.
I'd be
He sums it.
disappointed by ours, thanks.
He sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, but he's good.
Like,
He's good in that. Don't do that. Yeah, no. Calvin Dyson's excellent. I watched it earlier.
yeah, he's a fantastic show.
He's shorter form than us, though, to be fair, by and large, not always.
Definitely, he's very charismatic. But yeah, a wonderful host. If we could only have him as a guest, I would be ever so happy. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. Um, but yeah, no,
Why don't
he
he
does
like
it.
you?
No, well, he's much bigger than what we are. He's a big star. He's a big famous YouTuber, and we are lower down on the rung of that ladder. So yeah,
All
it's a
right.
pipe dream guest. But no,
Yeah,
yeah,
we got Mark O'Connell on, who's also way bigger than us. All
that's
right.
the only
Anyway,
one so
Published
far.
orders, been on BBC since and all that. Yeah.
yeah.
This is it, definitely. So, but well,
And he
I
came
can
on
dream.
what he came on while we laughed at like stiffy jokes and things like that. But oh,
I can dream. I will ask him one day. He might say
all
no,
right.
but no, Calvin
Uh,
is lovely, and plus he's a
yeah.
big Hitchcock fan as well. I knew him online back in the day from an old Psycho Movies forum. And
Right.
his hand, I can't remember what my name was, but his handle was Mr.
It was
Arbogast.
Oh,
Back then
okay, all right.
he was like 15, 16. He was quite young.
He's still
Um,
quite young now, I think.
he's still
But
a baby.
yeah,
um,
the point I just want to make before we go into this is I read up on the film and we'll talk about it as we go through it because I think I know what's coming, but I'm just going to react in real time. I just thought that might be quite funny because if someone put on Batman and Robin for me and I'd never seen it and I had to commentate and I had a
You'd be
rough
like, what
idea of
the
the plot,
fuck?
yeah, it might not work, but let's just try it. But I do know it was the other thing that rang in my brain is and I'd forgotten till today. I think I read they had problems. It was delayed a couple of months,
Yeah,
and I
there's quite
think
a lot
that
of technical issues
it
and quite a lot of
it
historical
it
issues in
got
that as
cut
well.
down though, and
It did.
it got cut from like 129 minutes or 121 minutes, one of the two, to like 85,
And you can
and
tell it
that was
has been really
yeah,
hacked.
but that's giving me Superman 4 vibes.
Yeah.
Where they cut, and that film didn't make sense. Where's the woman? What, the woman you've never met?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I just heard that. And the other thing was the plot, the soundtrack was a victim of that because Giacchino had done the track. Or no, Kamen, Michael Kamen, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't available for, to make sense of all the shit that had been cut out of it, so they had to get
No.
someone else in.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It's kind of like any sort of actor, they will have to do it. But yeah, as I say, unfortunately, I've not seen much of the show, but I've kind of seen enough sort of clips, and well, actually, the odd episode here and there, especially sort of the later ones, to kind of get a sense of it. I think this film tries to get a bit of flavour of that. I mean, there's a film, there's a scene later on in the film, um, where Sean Connery holds a meeting, and all the other attendees are dressed in giant, colourful teddy bear costumes. It's a bit bizarre. And I think at one point there was a scene involving like a giant chessboard, perhaps. I can't remember if that
Mm.
makes an appearance or not. Um, and again, it kind of like the film, obviously, it's very 60s, did have a tendency to go into the bizarre, into the dreamlike. Um, and I
Well, I
think
know
that
the very opening bit of the film where Emma Peel's accused of something. They've cut out what happened there, and they've cut
yeah,
out,
there's obviously a scene
and
missing.
and
Um,
also they've gone straight from like a bit of build up to suddenly they're fighting this sort of enemy, and it's just not properly established. Let's
no, this
find
isn't.
out, shall we?
Yes, let's do that. And there's also that funny story about Diana Rigg. Obviously, got John Steed to appear. Obviously, I think voice only.
His voice
Um,
only, yeah.
and yeah, this obviously, yeah, there's a story of Diana Rigg. She, I think she swore.
Mm.
But yeah, they obviously sent her the script, and she was like, "No, thank you." But I think there's a um more
There's a
accurate
more
story
media
of that, where
friendly
she was
thing you
like,
said.
"F no."
No,
But
I've heard that story, and it reminded me of what I at least inferred Sean Connery with Indiana Jones 4 said. Let's get the film underway. I'll explain that one in a minute.
let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just for reference, listeners, I'm personally on the ITVX version, so there will be adverts. I can't scrub through, but I figure it'll be more fun. I think Dave, you bought a copy.
So,
Chris,
yeah. So me and Dave would have finished watching it, and then Becca would still be watching it
I'll
20
still be
minutes
watching it.
later.
This is it.
So,
But
Yeah.
it's so bad. I'm really
And
sorry.
Becca will
Obviously,
still be hearing every 20 minutes. Domino.
I've got my
Woohoo.
I do have a TV license, but I'm not going to pay 350 because it is diabolical. So I'll pay all that for a TV license, and obviously I've got my
you're not gonna
ITVX subscription. So I think it was on TV recently. It was on ITV4 here in the UK
you're not gonna
last
have
week.
our ITVX Plus to.
Yes, that's the one. Just yeah, because they had a deal on all the films at the end, and then they lost their license, and I was like, oh bug. So now I'm stuck with the subscription till it expires in a few months' time.
Oh, that might mean it's advert free then.
Yeah.
It will do.
Well, I've got one, two, three, 4 points. So no,
Points.
I
in
don't know
the
what.
no in so along the timeline where you can see the film playing, there are four
Oh, right.
points
I see what you mean.
that are going to be
I know
broken
what
up
you mean.
by.
It looks like
So I think
breaks
it'll
in the
be I
thing.
think
I
there'll be
see it.
Yeah.
adverts. Sorry, breaks. There'll be adverts probably for
Yeah.
ITV things, but I figure it'll be chaotic. So just ignore me, listeners. You're fine.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I think anyone listening is going to mind that much, but
No,
All right.
they heard us enough times. We're
All
okay.
right.
we'll
Cat.
mostly go off.
Let's go.
So,
Anyway, so yeah, Mr. Bond, Mr. Byrne, we're needed.
okay.
All right. Cats and Chris.
Okay. So on three. One, two, and three. And we're playing. So I've got the Warner Bros. Logo. So yeah,
Yep.
I think the Avengers was new idea to me. I think I've heard about it. I've seen like maybe a couple of episodes on TV. As Dave said, it wasn't on TV a lot. I remember. Um, so just as a little thing, so we got the title sequence, and for anyone watching it, like just as it is, it's very just underwhelming. It's very like just bunch of clouds and ominous music, and it just feels already it's like bored. This is not the way to open it.
Well,
It's
you remember Superman 4's opening credits. Now that they've had a real budgetary issue, which this probably didn't. $60 million in this era is not too bad. But you know how you had those sort of speeding through space in the first few Superman films, and
mm,
by the first one, it's just disappearing against a static and rather dated image of Earth.
mm.
It's got a little bit of that to it. That they will have done stuff like that quite late, and they probably knew they had a turkey by this point.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I will be a bit more kinder on it. I would say a little bit, just because I know it. Obviously, we discussed it. It was kind of butchered, and
Yeah.
I do wonder if they just shown it. Not that it would be a masterpiece by any stretch of the mark, but
No.
I
Might
mean,
make a bit more sense in
yeah, I
places,
mean,
yeah.
it'll probably
Yeah.
be a better film. You know what I mean? It'll probably
And the
just be like,
thing
oh
is,
well.
it's Warner Brothers who, well, let's gloss over the fact they did Batman and Robin the previous year, but uh, it's a big studio with a lot of money and a prestige sort of history to that name, the Avengers. It ran on and off
Mm,
for quite a long time. You'd think anyone would sign up for this. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Particularly in its unbutchered version.
I mean, like I mean. I don't know if you guys can sort of point to any time where a studio was interfered and cut the film down and it's would have worked better had they not. I can't think of I mean it's probably hard to pull an example like that, but
It's hard to pull an example because you don't always
mm,
know. But
No, you don't always know what's going on. I
the
mean,
one that
very often, well,
springs
I
to
don't know, for
mind
example,
where
maybe like there's an example, North by Northwest. Obviously there was a lot of studio interference, trying to make that, but I think Hitchcock, he had his watertight contract on his side where he had like creative control. Like his side goes basically, obviously he did some battle with the studio and also did battle with the Hays Code. Um, but I mean, it's one of those things you don't always know what goes on, who said
no, the
what.
one that springs
So,
to mind for me where I can't remember which way it was around, whether it was the actor or the studio that got their way, but the end result was something one of the major players was extremely unhappy with, and yet to my eyes, the end result came out really well, and that's American History X.
oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
that's a good, yeah, good
Edward
count.
Norton's quite controlling in terms of
Well, I mean, he's the common denominator in a lot of Fallouts, isn't he?
mhm,
But I'm not impugning his character because I don't know. But
mm.
I'm saying that it's not unusual to hear this sort of thing, is it?
Yeah, it's
Mm.
it's very typical, isn't it? So
So yeah, so yeah, there was wasn't going to be the opening scene. This was going to be like the whole and the fake appeal sort of
Yeah, because
take
I
like the
mean,
whole sequence of that would have been like the opening bit.
see if that was like the TV show The Saint, a sign would flash up saying
Yeah.
Manhattan.
got
Now,
Killer Granny.
so now, yeah. So what I will say, what I was going to say about yeah. So I think I think had it been because I don't understand how the logic is. If you you think you've got, so I think was that the role that Diana Rigg was going to do the
What's the
the
character called? I forget now. She was offered a cameo. Now, again,
yeah.
this is just quickly off the
She,
point. That's Eileen Atkins. I
Yeah,
last saw her in
yeah,
Doc
she's
Martin
amazing.
as Martin Clune's aunt, although her career's much more storied than that. She's 92 this year.
I think
Yeah, she's had an
yeah.
amazing career, hasn't she?
Mm.
I think if it's I think it's I think her character pops up again later on. I think that's meant to be like Diana Rigg.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
anyway,
what I read the sort of not the press release, but the quote of what she said when she spoke about having been offered a role in this, and she said,
Right.
"Well, I didn't want to, Uma was playing a role I'd popularized. I didn't want to, overshadow her or
mm,
take attention away from her." And it just reminds me of when Sean Connery put out, or his team put out a quote when he turned down Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and he went, retirement is just too much damn fun, but I'll be first in line to see it. And I'm thinking, they rang you and you just went, fuck that. I'm retired. I can't be asked.
But when you're Sean Connery, I think you probably can.
I'll be first in line. You think Sean Connery queued up to watch that, do you?
No.
You know, he had no interest in doing
I think
it.
when you what I meant is when
I
you're
doubt he
contrary, you
was
can
rude.
say F no.
Yeah, no, but they still put out these public sort of statements that, like, I
Yeah,
did
show
it for
your
this,
support, that sort of
and
thing.
I did hear quite exactly what you heard. She saw how the wind was blowing with the project and said,
I
no
thought, no,
chance.
hard pass.
Mm.
So
I did look
obviously
up who
there's
played.
Nicholas Woodson as well, who also appeared in Skyfall.
Okay,
I'm a bit behind.
that's
I do
it.
apologise with my
No,
No,
ITVX.
I've got Jim Broadbent talking to the Prime Minister now.
Okay, yeah, I've just got
His
that now as
character's
well.
called Mother. If you go and look the character up, because I don't remember episodes with the character in, that they've recaptured the look with him.
Yeah, they've got mother and father, but the roles are reversed, I think.
Mm.
I totally realise, obviously, being a Whovian as well, commissioned by Sidney Newman, who was also responsible for Doctor Who, obviously, as well.
Okay.
Um, I totally forgot that fact. That was really interesting. So, and especially because
Mm.
he was very much against what he called BEM, bug-eyed monsters. And obviously, Doctor Who in its early years had its fair share of bug-eyed
I
monsters.
honestly thought you were going to say black and ethnic minority then, or
No,
something like
but
that.
I say that's why I said what he called BEM, bug-eyed
Okay.
monsters.
Yeah.
Um, but no, go back and see the 50th anniversary film. I was kind of lifted the dialogue from that. But yeah, obviously BM does mean black myth minority. But in this context, it's what Sidney Newman called
Yeah, I
bug-eyed
get it.
monsters. I can only apologise for any offence. No offence meant at all.
I don't think anyone would take offense. I was worried that's what it was, and I'm glad it wasn't.
No. Well,
Mm.
considering Waris Hussein was obviously the
Mm.
first Asian sort of producer
Mm.
on the show as well. So I
Mm.
think, and um, it was quite sort of very forward thinking that it contains sort of many sort of different minorities and different actors, that sort of thing. So it's quite a diverse cast and production crew as well. So
this Blades walking into.
it does look a bit like that, doesn't it?
I think it's the same.
I think it
Same.
Is,
Like,
literally is.
I
yeah.
think it probably is. Is
Um.
he naked reading that newspaper? You can see his bum. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And yeah. When we see thing, when we see Ralph Fiennes, it is very much like do you think? Yeah, he could have easily been Bond. Like at this
Oh
point.
yeah, he was. I mean, he was very one of those in the running, as I say, kind of probably back in the day.
And probably would have
Um,
done a good job, I think. I think he would have been all right at this
yeah,
time, at
originally
this
okay.
point.
He's very handsome. He looks good.
I've not seen
He's
him
suave.
bad in much, to be honest with you.
I think he's not one for sort of like fit. Like even here, like he's he's pretty good. I don't know, kind of. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen all his filmography, but I've seen most of it.
Mm.
And it is not a kind of role where he sort of really phones it
Mm.
in. Um,
I'm only glad he's not reading Reader's Digest. They're a much smaller book. When he's got to that,
Al-
he's talking to him now.
Great shots of
Also,
London in the 90s.
also, fun fact: it was going to be wasn't going to be Uma Thurman originally. It was going to be Nicole Kidman.
Oh
I
really?
did hear that as well.
But I think you can thank Kubrick for this.
I would say
Uh,
yeah, she was busy working,
Eyes
making
Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide
Yeah,
Shut. Yeah.
yeah.
So thank you, Kubrick.
Yeah, they went off to do a certain number of weeks filming, and they were there like 18 months or something
Oh
doing
wow.
Eyes Wide Shut.
All his reshoots. So it was, no, I want to do it from this angle,
Well,
that
I
angle.
mean, I don't remember the number. I did hear a number, and I can't. This I'm talking about A Clockwork Orange now for a second, but I'll come back to this. But with A Clockwork Orange, there's a scene where someone spits in Alex's face, and it was either 98 or 104 times he insisted they do it. Um,
Oh, that's gross.
there is a scene in Eyes Wide Shut where Tom Cruise walks through a door, and he had him do that something like 46 times.
Yeah,
These are
Kubrick was
all
known for doing multiple
This
takes,
is
wasn't
all
he?
from memory. Any or all of those figures could be wrong, but the principle it's getting at is accurate. He just have multiple takes of often the most mundane things. But then his shot, it always made me laugh when, because I really like Christopher Nolan, but it makes me laugh when he's compared to Kubrick. And I think, well, Kubrick, every single shot or every single scene, you could pause it. And if he was alive and sat next to you, he could break down the exact composition of every single shot and why. And then you've got like, The Dark Knight Rises, where, one of the goons goes down from being punched by nothing at all. And you think that there's nothing like the same attention to detail, nothing like it.
Yeah, Kubrick always liked to work just with no time constraints. He just like it'll take as long as it takes for me. And I think he was very. That's just how he was.
Yeah.
But it was very like particular and just I think it's just yeah. I think he was hard man to. So this is like one of the part of what was missing from the original opening. I've seen video
Right.
clips of
So
it.
what ostensibly at this point has happened, if you've never seen the film, is Uma Thurman has supposedly done something, stolen or
Mm.
tampered with the system we're going to find out is Prospero.
And she's like, "Oh, that wasn't me. I don't know what the hell's going on." Um, so yeah, just to go back to what I was saying about being all packed up is I struggle with the idea of studios like because the idea of if it is a turkey, if it's that bad, hacking it up to
Increased
to make it.
screenings.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but it's just like, does that really?
Well, firstly, even back then, the internet was around, but not everybody had it, and certainly the sort of I mean, it's a pariah site
I,
now, but
I think the point I'm making, if it's
the beginning of that era around here was things like Ain't It Cool News, right?
yeah,
So you started getting people who like managed to get a little bit of inside information and things like that. But what I'm saying is, even back then, when a film had been butchered, you had a way of finding out about it. It did tend to spill out. And the other thing is, of course, you've got a guy who's just been in an Oscar nominated film. You've got Jim Broadbent, who either has been or will go on to be Oscar nominated. You've got, Uma Thurman, who's on the verge of the A list at this point, and it's 85 minutes. That would immediately tell you something's wrong.
the
Well,
cast is great. You know, I
yeah,
mean,
but the
Sean
point
Connery.
is, the film comes out and it's 85 minutes. It's not The Naked Gun. If it's that short, something's wrong.
Mm.
Your intuition would tell you, well, what went wrong here. Did they run out of money and not complete it? Or have they got a turkey they've had to hack to pieces?
But I think even like the idea of of hacking a turkey to pieces is
Mm.
like, well, what's the point? You might as well just accept that it's a turkey. Well, what's the point of like, oh, I don't know, we got a fat film. Let's hack it to make it even more shit. Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand.
Yeah, the same. I'm a little bit. Why would you even do that? I just don't
Just
understand.
because they already
But it was a
pushed back.
double whammy. It was a double whammy because they not only cut it to 85 minutes and that got out that they'd cut it to 85 minutes, but then they did the classic. Um, it was either no test screenings or like a really, really late, no, embargo till release
Probably
review.
none. Probably no.
And
Yeah,
it
no test
and
screenings.
it
That's
and
a good
it's just
point.
like, well, everyone gets the idea. They're then braced for a pile of shit.
I suppose they know they've got it on their hands, and what can they do? They can't really sort of can it at that late stage. They just have to release it and just
But you've
watch it
got
burn.
like, in terms of appearance, anyway, if you like, you've got a Piku with Herman here. You've got a still very young Ralph Fiennes, and you've got a brilliant surrounding cast. I mean, everything must have gone wrong for it to come out to the reception it got. It's got 5% on Rotten Tomatoes last time I
Mm.
looked.
I think it's probably you could enjoy it for its camp value, perhaps. You
I'm
can
not
enjoy it
seeing
for
it.
its performances.
I'm sure the camp is coming, but at the moment, I'm only going off what I'm reading in terms of dialogue and the interplay between the two of them. I'm not seeing an awful lot of chemistry yet.
No, I think that was one thing they kind of didn't really have a lot. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't know. I think she does quite a good accent, I think. Or tries to.
Yeah, I mean, with that accent, I wouldn't have minded her as a Bond girl, but I have a bit of an aversion to like American Bond girls per se.
It
I
is
just, I just, I just, I
inappropriate.
just think it feels very much apart for a European. That's all I mean. I don't know why I think that, but I do.
Ooh.
It's probably the route. Like sort of Bond isn't particularly in. Well, I know. I was going to say isn't particularly in America, but then like Goldfinger. It's like it's what.
Yeah, it's partly that. It's partly that it's almost the reverse of Batman. When a Batman film comes out, it does the vast majority of its money in the United States, even though it's popular worldwide. And Bond is sort of the reverse. It does decent money there. And they've had a couple of quite big hits there, but it's never ever been as big here as it has been in its home country.
No, it's just one of those things. I was have a look at the cast and crew.
But a couple of times as well, when it's gone to America, it's been some of the tackier entries. So, you've got Tiffany Case and you've got Stacey and all the rest of it. And I don't think, I always imagine, I mean, I know she went into it a lot later than we would have wanted, but a Bond girl to me is a Monica Bellucci or an Eva Green or something like that,
A
or
sort of femme
or or a
fatale,
Diana
almost kind of
Rigg,
sultry looking.
or a Diana Rigg, or even what's she called from the later ones, the later ones,
Ooh.
Leia Seydoux.
Yeah,
Perfect, like
it's
for something like
probably
that.
going to be down to its roots because a lot of the the books were set
Yeah,
around like Europe and
yeah.
places like that, so it's gonna have that more
That's
vibe.
what I
I feel.
mean. It's a European series. That doesn't mean you can't go to America. It doesn't mean you can't have
Speaking of Bond, we had Michael and Neil Lamont both working on this film. I'm hastily grabbing at straws trying to find some other Bond connections.
and stuff to talk about. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Also, there's a lot of a lot of locations. I think it's probably like
Mm.
yeah, London looks very nice in this film. Yeah.
so currently I'm watching. So basically, they've got like a tea making facility
In the car.
in a
In the
car.
car. Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
have tea like 6 times or something. We were talking about this before. It's like I think I imagine, but from what I've seen of the original series, they drank a lot of champagne. Whereas in this film, it's all tea, and I think at the end they have a cup of
I,
tea,
I, I
or they might
think
have some champagne. I can't
I
remember.
think there are a restraint of Americans. I don't think by any means a majority, but there's definitely a strain of Americans that think there's two types of Brit. We're either smashing up football grounds or we're in the countryside in tweed
Drinking
suits,
tea.
and
Both are true.
there's nothing in between.
No, we're one or
Um,
the other.
yeah,
Both are true. Oh, I've
yeah.
got an ITV ad break. Sorry,
But
everybody.
sometimes I can have I can have a cup of tea while I'm sort of smashing up a
We're
football
smashing up
stadium.
the stadium. Yeah,
The two are not mutually exclusive.
yeah. You can have a tea break whilst you're smashing up Wembley Stadium.
We've seen this in enough films, haven't we? This
Yeah.
building she's just walking into now.
Hello. Yeah, there's some quite good locations in this one. It does look really nice, actually.
Mm.
Um, yeah, London is presented kind of very, very handsomely before it's destroyed later on. Right, there you go. There's my advert. First ad break, ad break out the way.
London's always getting battered. Always getting battered in
It
films.
is generally.
And we got a first look at Sean Connery.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he's appearing, what, like 20 minutes in, nearly 20-ish minutes in,
that's
15,
not
20
too bad
minutes
for
in.
him.
I've
That's
got
not too bad for him,
17.
really.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
just shy
17
of
minutes
18 minutes. Yeah.
thereabouts.
I don't know what I'm looking at now.
Sorry,
I
sometimes I round stuff up or round it down. But yeah,
Yeah, but not
17
only that,
minutes.
you may be if you're running ahead of us, it may be that you're on the we're on the
I would quite like
NTSC version.
the mushroom shaped umbrella that she has. I would quite like one of those. I think they look really
Mm.
cool.
There's not a lot wrong with the design at the moment.
I wonder where they went for the scene. Was the Eden Project open? I don't think it was it? That
No,
opened.
The Eden project wasn't quite finished when Diana
No.
the Day was filming there.
Yeah, they were making it
It
around that time,
opened in
weren't they?
about
So
2002, I think.
yeah, that was it.
And I'm not being funny
Maybe it's
because
Kew
how would
Gardens.
you,
Perhaps it's
I mean,
Kew.
how would you know? But it doesn't look like that either.
Well, I know.
Um,
Let's see.
there's a botanical garden in Birmingham as well.
Might have been Brum, might have been Kew, or
I'm not
wherever they
quite
got
sure
the
where that is.
ability
Mind you,
to film.
I don't even, I haven't got a clue where that would be.
Let's have a look. Filming
I was
locations.
going to say it'll be on IMDb or some other.
Your
Like, um,
can't find it. Where is it? Filming locations. Here we go. Sign House Reform Club. Woodstock. Windsor. East Stage. Oh, East Stage. Oh my God. Sorry. Excuse me.
okay.
I'm very excited there. Heatherden Hall, Pinewood. So that's probably in the garden scene where we saw a few moments ago. Broadgate. Oh, the Lloyd's building. So what also featured in Skyfall.
Yeah.
DVD. I'm afraid we've seen that one. 007. Covey Broccoli Stage.
Ah, so they're flirting over a love of weather.
Yeah, obviously he's August de Winter. He's obsessed with like clouds and the weather, and
Yeah, because you say to the right woman, I think that's sleet outside. Their knickers just fall off.
she goes, "Oh," but yeah, when you say it in Sean Connery accent, your
Well,
clothes just fall
in that
off.
case, their knickers fall off.
Like, "Arsh."
I think it's sleeting outside.
Yeah, then your clothes
You
fall
can
off.
have a
Right?
good 10 inches overnight.
Yes, there we go.
So how are we rating his toupee here?
Mm. Poor.
Oh, it does look a bit wiggy, doesn't it?
It's almost League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Almost.
Yes, it's around that time.
but that was a bit flatter to his head than that. It looks even less natural in that
He's
film,
got a bit
but
of
yeah.
volume here because it was the 90s, wasn't it? So
I mean,
Mm.
I will say this, like he
his
is
mustache is very impressive, though.
he's showing up. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's quite. I think he's showing up to like have fun. Do you know what I mean? I don't think
Yeah, he's not doing
Yeah,
it by halves, is he? He's
yeah.
having good fun in the
he's
role.
and this is one of the things like which the film itself doesn't work.
Mm.
I think even like all the cuts and all that. Something about it just kind of falls flat.
Well, I didn't. I've
But
never seen this before, but I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris. But just to back that point up, I can already feel like the film's missing something.
Yeah,
She's
there
talking to
probably was a
him, and it's
scene.
like, what am I missing here? Anyway, go on. Sorry, you're saying for all the cuts.
yeah, so for all the cuts, like it just falls flat. And
Yeah,
I can see the film what it's trying to do because it does in a way capture or at least really gives a really good effort to capture the vibe of the Avengers series. Like
sort of.
it's
Although
in
I've
its
not
kind of
seen a lot of
quirky
it.
kind of like almost like psychedelic 60s kind of like vibe. Like I can feel it's like yeah, it kind of knows what it wants to be. And it kind of like it's like yeah, this is like a this is basically like a newer but truthful sort of take on the actual series, on the series. Just like yeah, we're just doing exactly what the series did,
Yeah, I would
but I
say.
don't think it kind of works.
I would say, and I'm not, we've just spent ages explaining how I'm not an expert on the
Mm,
series, but obviously I've seen a few episodes here and there over the years, long time ago. So I know how Steed is meant to comport himself. I only ever really watched the Emma Peel episodes
mm.
because, I love Diana Rigg. Funny, they both left the show to be in Bond films, her
This
and
is it.
but anyway, and because it was out on a Blackman before her as Kathy Gale, I think she was called. Emma Peel was based on M for Man
Man
Appeal.
appeal. Yeah,
Yeah,
she was a
but
sex appeal,
anyway,
wasn't she? Really?
I did read enough today and remember enough to go, well, it's almost like they've seen Patrick McNee maybe addressing somebody in the show and seen photos of what he and Emma Peel looked like, and maybe seen the odd scene because we've just said like the tea obsession, that was something Calvin pointed out, and it's just not a thing in the show.
No, it's champagne
And
all the way.
and I don't think it had this like I don't know if it had this slight campiness. I'm not sure. Inherently, the bowler hat and everything has a slight campiness to it anyway, but I don't know.
I
I'd
wonder if
have to
that's kind
watch
of been added
episodes.
afterwards, though. That's more like a post cultural thing.
Yeah,
Whereas like in the 60s, that was just kind of like all the bright colours,
maybe.
sort of vivid designs. That was
Well, I
just kind of
mean,
what was popular at the
don't
time.
forget the Diana Rigg version. The Diana Rigg era of the show is black and white by and large. I think
Yes,
it
yeah, some of the
might
colour
have been
versions.
coloured right at the end.
Yeah, I think towards the later end of the series, it did sort of become colour. Um,
So is she effectively kidnapped or what?
And now she's just like like sort of doing that thing in Bond films where
The guest
it,
friendship thing.
it's like yeah, it's all pleasantries, but it's all like almost like yeah, I know he's a wrong un. He knows that that she's onto me, but we're just gonna sort of like play pleasantries in the meantime, kind of thing.
Okay.
See, you can tell there was a heavy cut there. You can tell like
yeah, you can tell.
there
Yeah,
would have been
something there
like a
was something
scene.
missing there.
Yeah, but
Um,
why? Yeah, that is a very, very strange cut because he's walking along and then like here and it's yeah, okay.
so I think
We've
to
missed
your point,
exposition here.
yeah.
Go on, sorry.
I think you to your point before. I think from a as a non-purist now, if I put my Avengers purist hat on, they do proper like do the the romance between the two, and it's like no, I mean there's there's sexual tension, but Emma Peel is always supposed to be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm married. We never see him, but she's
Well, yeah,
but
there's a lot of that in the Austin Powers character, isn't there? With
mm,
Mrs.
Yeah,
Kensington.
he's very much kind of like part of his character is influenced by
Mm.
Steed for sure.
But no, we're not so much him. I was thinking of Mrs. Kensington because
Oh,
she
Mrs.
was
Kensington, yeah,
married.
she's Emma
So,
Peel.
so, so, uh, uh, Elizabeth Hurley's mother,
Yep,
Mimi Rogers, I think it was.
Amy Rogers, yep. But it was kind of very much kind of that ilk, wasn't he? But yeah, she was very much kind of like Emma Peel, that kind of, especially down to the cat suit.
But yeah, that's probably another point is like Austin Powers probably sort of redid it better, even though it's a spoof.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
it it it, it, it worked because well it
I think it worked because it was a
partly
spoof.
because
It
it's a
was a
spoof,
comedy, but it was very affectionate. It was done, done with affection, done with a lot of
but
knowledge, a lot of passion.
bringing the character into the modern world
Yes,
solves that
100%.
problem. You know what I mean? It's like, oh right, well he has to adapt to the modern world, blah. It's like
Mm.
that. That makes it work. Whereas this is just kind of like, yeah, we're just
Do you know, I
all
genuinely thought
60s.
that was Gemma Arterton then. It's not, it's Keeley Hawes.
Mm,
I think
No,
she
it
was
just looked like her at a glance, and I thought, hang on, she'd
mm.
have been about 16. No, that wouldn't work.
she was a baby when this was made.
Yeah,
Um,
Keeley Hawes. Yeah.
It's one of her first roles as well.
yeah, one of the early roles. I kind of feel bad that this was
Well, she can't have been that old. Keeley Hawes was born
no,
in
she must have been like
the.
20s or thereabouts. She was quite young.
Okay. She made her name in Spooks to start with, but
And
then
then
she was in
wasn't
stuff
she
like the
in
Durrells.
oh God, what was that time travel program? Ashes to Ashes or something? Was it that
Yeah,
one or the follow up?
yeah,
She
yeah.
was in the yeah, Ashes to Ashes was the follow-up, yeah,
Yeah,
to Life on Mars.
Life on Mars. That's what I was getting at. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
then yeah,
was
Ashes to Ashes
that.
was the sequel.
Ashes
Yeah,
to Ashes was like 8 years
yeah.
later, set in about 81.
So after that scene, this is that scene with the giant teddy bears that I was talking about.
The problem with Ashes to Ashes was all right. They would lean on this mystery now and again, and then in between it would be a pretty standard sort of cop show with the sort of clash of different
80s sexism
generations.
thrown in.
But of course, then we ended up with finding out what happened to John Sims' character in it. So when they brought out Ashes to Ashes, it was leaning on this mystery from moment one, or at least, yeah, you know what I mean.
No, well, I think because like the first show was so groundbreaking, like we hadn't seen anything like it really quite
Yeah.
before, and the cast and characters are so memorable. It
Well,
really was. I mean, Ashes to Ashes was successful in its own right, but it didn't quite live up, I don't think.
well, if you remember Heroes, which obviously got ruined by the writers' strike in its second
Yeah,
series,
no, that was
but
a shame. That was a great show.
they had this, but the first season was really good, and they had this mystery of save the cheerleader, save the world,
Yeah,
and what was causing all of this, and what Sylar wanted, and all that sort of thing. And then they ran it for like 4 or 5 series, and every episode was just spinning out that there's some mystery. Very J.J. Abrams, really.
yeah.
And
Spin it out for as
I
long as you can.
yeah, Ashes to Ashes got a little bit like that. It's like just be a standard cop show or tell us what the issue is.
Yeah, just kind of just literally just make
Mm.
up your mind what you want to be. Don't just keep on drawing it out.
So they
Um,
dress as teddy bears to hide their identity.
yes, it's so bizarre.
Imagine if Clark Kent did that.
Apart from the winter, you've just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of in costume, but he hasn't got
but
his. He's not wearing his big head.
this is basically like the
Yeah, but the problem is he'd walk in with his teddy bear hat on and he'd go, "Let's get down to business," and everyone would be like, "Yeah, right,
like Sean
You said
Connery.
what, Dave?
get down to business." I went a bit Dutch with it, to be honest, but
I was going to say. I mean, I
no,
can't do an impression, so
but the thing is, imagine if
Schmuck
Clark
and a
Kent
crap.
did that.
yeah,
If he thought like these glasses don't fucking work, everyone will know I'm Superman, so he just goes into work every day dressed as a teddy bear to do
most lame
scoops on
excuse ever.
dodgy honeymoon places.
But what I was going to say,
Imagine being like the props and costumes on this film. I want 10 or 12 giant teddy bear outfits, please, each a different
well,
colour.
it's just kind of quirky for the sake of being quirky, though. That's the thing. I
Well,
mean,
it
Yeah,
is.
that's the thing, isn't it? And also, imagine it as a list, Becca. So I want 5 Savile Row suits in these colours. I want a sort of elegant catsuit for the lady, and then sort of what looks like period 60s elegance for the lady as well. 12 comedy
A red
and
teddy suit
and a kilt. So,
and a toupee for Connery. But you just think, what? Yeah, it's just quirky for the sake of being quirky. I think, I don't
for a
know,
scene
can,
that's basically like the same scene in A View to a Kill,
yeah, well, pretty
Uh,
much, pretty much. I mean,
Anybody
could
want to drop
they,
out?
anyone, yeah, could anyone drop out? Yeah, literally. And
yeah.
this is the Broadgate Tower, or Lloyd's Tower.
I don't know if we're in the same place. They've just walked in and found the two of them
It's,
dead.
it's the Lloyd's building. It's the
I
same
mean,
sort of area, but it's
that
the Lloyd's building.
that is just
Um,
lazy, isn't it? Just leaving corpses lying around.
could they, if they wanted to, could they make this film today? Obviously, like there are a few IPs kind of being remade, rebooted. Could we do it today? Who would we cast? Is there
The
any
problem is,
interest in
the
this really old
problem
show from the
is,
60s?
the problem is, right. It depends what.
Would you cast Eddie Izzard again?
Obviously, you could market anything if with the right ideas. But the thought
Also, look out
occurs
for the
to me.
Shaun Ryder cameo.
But the original Avengers now was 60 years ago or more.
Yeah.
The sequel was nearly 50 years ago. In fact, over 50 years ago now. I think it ran from 75 to 76 or something like that. Um, who's it for?
Well, exactly. This is it. It's kind of
Mm.
not. It's more kind of your parents, grandparents
Not
generation, isn't it? Really?
98 in 1998 you released this film, and like people who have watched the new Avengers, for example, might remember it from when they were like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14,
Yeah.
and they might have seen some reruns if there were any of the sort of Avengers when the new Avengers popularized it. So there may have been, and also a lot of this is getting by on its cast as well. And it made me laugh. He accepts this film, but first he has to go and film multi-Oscar winning The English Patient.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the film that launched him to stardom.
It's a bit Halle Berry, collect your Oscar and then go to die another day. Yeah,
Collect your Oscar and then go get a Razzie.
yeah. I don't want to sound transphobic, but I wish Eddie Izzard had just played this with a pair of big tits just for a laugh. Eddie Izzard
No,
is
he has a
surprisingly
touch of he has a
accomplished.
touch of glamour to proceedings.
Well, he's a bit of Clockwork Orange to look at there. He doesn't have the silly things around the eyes, but yeah.
Yeah, he's very much into
Well,
kind of. I think depending on like where the mood sort of took him, like sometimes he would
Shaun Ryder.
perform with like yeah Shaun Ryder cameo.
I wonder
Um,
if he remembers he made it.
probably not. Um, just check out yeah maybe last year or the year before it released sort of remake reversion from new sort of Hammer Studios
Mm.
of Jekyll and Hyde. Really good adaptation. Do check it out. Izzard is fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Oh, that's with Eddie Izzard, isn't it?
Yeah, he's in it. I,
Yeah.
I apologize if I misnamed them. They, she's in it. Yeah,
He's always been
He said, yeah,
a
I'm
trans
going to say because he said himself, he said, you can't get it wrong. I
no,
think of myself as
apologies
Susie and
if I
female,
misname.
but he said, I'm also professionally a comedian called Eddie Izzard. He said, so you cannot get it wrong. He said, if you call me Eddie and he, that's fine. And then it's not about being disrespectful because if it was something they demanded, then I'd sort of go with it. But because they don't seem to mind, I've got 30 years of knowing the comedian Eddie Izzard, and it's a hard habit to get out of. Particularly, is he's not done a Caitlyn Jenner. He still looks like the guy or the person we've always known.
Like, I don't feel so bad now, but apologies. No offense meant.
No, we don't mean to offend anybody. All right, so she worked out she's like there's a copy of her.
Yeah, she's a clone.
This is a little Skyfall as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Hmm.
I wonder. Oh, the eyes. The eyes are a different color. She's wearing contacts. I wonder if Rafe Fiennes thought the obvious for a couple of seconds.
Probably.
He's
I'd be
like, well, we're
surprised.
up here
so
by
she
ourselves.
just jumped off the top of a building, and
Yeah,
we don't know how, like, in a bear costume, and we don't actually there's no actually
but they
explanation of
seem
how
to have
she.
cut straight to fighting. It's so weird. I know they've just found something out, but I don't know. Two Mrs. Peels. Fiona Shaw often plays quite quirky characters.
Yeah, she's a quite interesting career as well, hasn't she?
Yeah, I'm sure
Let's
I've
have a look.
seen her in things where she's sort of run spies or run. I need to look
Fiona
that
Shaw.
up. Yeah,
Harry
Fiona
Sutter.
Shaw.
Well,
It feels like she would have been at Spooks at some point.
Yeah.
probably.
I'm not sure that she was, but she
Mm.
strikes me as the sort of person that I've seen. She often plays quite sexually ambiguous characters as well. Um,
She was in Andor, obviously, recently.
well, you know from the Harry
Uh,
Potter series, My Left Foot, Persuasion, Jane Eyre, right, but I think it's TV I'm looking for.
but yeah, she's like that kind of like she could be a spy master type
Killing
character.
Eve. Killing Eve.
There we go. Of course she was. That's
I was
it.
exactly what I was thinking of.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's got extensive
I
filmography.
mean, Jim Broadbent though, he's perfect to be in like
Opportunity. Of course she was.
in something like this.
Jim
Yes,
Broadbent's
perfect.
just fantastic.
You know what I heard? I know what I heard that he was actually like potentially in the running to play Del Boy.
He
Oh,
was the
really?
first choice. Yeah, he was the first
Yeah,
choice.
Oh, I never knew
which
that.
This, um,
you can kind of see. I mean,
what's
it would have
funny
been
because
Oh, yeah,
it
kind
would have
of.
my
Yeah.
been
mum's obsessed with the show, so we were watching the episode where he played Roy Slater today.
it would have been a slight it would have been different. It would have been like Rodney, you plonker. It would have been that kind of
Well, no,
way.
it would the whole dynamic would have been different
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they cast quite a short bloke to play Dell in the end. He was the third choice, so first choice. So they went for Bryn Broadbent. He said, "I'm glad I said no." He said because I managed to appear in it 3 times as Roy Slater, and he said I would have done 2 or 3 series, which probably wouldn't have been as good anyway, and then I'd have wanted to move on. The second choice was N. Reitel
Oh, and I told, yep, yep, yep. He's impressionist and comedian,
and voiceover artist and that
voiceover
sort of thing.
artist. Yep. I
And
used to do a
then
lot of like Spitting Image and Monkey Dust is where I know him from.
And when they went to David Jason, he assumed they wanted him to play Grandad because he played Blanco in Porridge. He'd had a bit of a history of playing old guys. He came quite close to playing Clive Dunn's character in Dad's Army.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He would have been too young, surely.
that's the point. Clive Dunn was too. Clive
Yeah,
Dunn was only
yeah,
in his
he wasn't
40s.
that old.
No, but he was made up. That's my
Yeah,
point.
he was.
And he played. Have you seen him in Porridge? He played a character called Blanco.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So they're drinking wine, not tea, I suppose. That's
It's a
yeah. That's
difference.
something. There you go.
You could probably
We
like have a drink when they drink and you might get sloshed.
They these two, you can just see it. The only time I've ever seen it with two reasonably attractive people where I don't even know the sound on, and I've said this in a previous podcast, years and years ago, 99, something like that. Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts did a film called The Mexican. And even in the trailers, they might as well have been two cardboard cutouts to sat next to each other. They just didn't look like they'd ever interact with each other. Some people just don't give off any air that they could physically or emotionally be together in any way.
mm.
And the
I,
irony is sometimes these people are together, but they just can't get it across on screen.
I don't think it helps because I think the dialogue, because it's so like doing the whole 60s of like, oh, we're gonna do an amusing pun. Oh, there's like,
It's a
all
mixture
right,
of clipped and punning. Yeah.
yeah, and it's very stilted, so it's hard. I think it's probably hard to have anything sort of like real sit there with anyone. Do you know what
Well,
I mean?
I often said Brosnan had very little chemistry with his leading ladies in Bond, but then I saw him in other things where he had an insane chemistry. So I don't think it was him, but his run, he had more chemistry with Samantha Bond than almost anybody else. Definitely Sophie Marceau, but that was it. And I think you've just hit on something then. The characters would just sort of talk at each other. They would just quip at each other and take turns to do their one-liners at each other. And that's not really conducive to sort of building up any sense of warmth or connection.
Because I was just looking at their because the theme commentary, you kind of like you're watching it without listening to it, and I just saw
Yeah.
like the faces were so stiff and sort of almost like they were just like two
That's the thing.
dolls. Do you know what I mean? Like,
What are you trying to make here? You've got Connery knowing he's to play somewhat grounded, but also larger than life. His sidekick there is definitely playing it larger than life. Even his choice of like long game there is, a little bit eccentric. And then you've got our two leads just sort of
yeah,
scowling,
everything
almost
looks like a
scowling at each
scene
other.
in a prisoner,
It's
doesn't it?
yeah, but it's like what tone of film are you making? These two could be in like a remake of A Clockwork Orange. Our two leads look like they're in something very sort of stiff in its way if you're just looking at the faces. Um, and then you've got Sean Connery, who's basically in a slightly toned down Batman and Robin.
I think I think the answer to my original sort of question, like what is like what's off, because it
Mm.
is like with its whole like mimicking the original series kind of thing. Its vibe
Mm.
is the almost like I don't. It's there's no sort of self-awareness. There's no like kind of like yeah we know it's a bit silly, kind of like kind of inviting the audience to sort of just let's just have fun with
Well,
this.
our leads wouldn't be playing it like this, would they?
I think there'll be some sort of, I don't mean like winking at the camera every
Because
five
Leslie
seconds.
Nielsen played everything with a completely straight face. It's not that,
Mm.
but there's no sense of any fun about it.
Yeah, I think some sort of sense of self-awareness of like, yeah, we know this is a bit silly. This is like, but
And
this is,
and
but
then the Steed character himself. I mean, let me try and think here. Um, Patrick McNee was a few years older than Roger Moore, maybe 5 or 6 years. Let's say 6 years just for the sake of argument, which would mean born in about 1921, something like that. So he was only mid 40s when he was making it, but mid 40s then and mid 40s now, two very different
mm,
things. And of course, he played up the gentleman accent. So when you did see fights, it was him hitting people with his umbrella.
mm.
But the only time I've seen that turned into any kind of dynamic action was Colin Firth in Kingsman. It doesn't really work in your high budget action film. I wonder where that was filmed because it always seems to be Black Park when they go into forest, doesn't it?
Don't know. But probably finding like,
It probably was in and around Buckinghamshire, probably by pretty
Okay,
roads.
yeah. It's not a bad looking film. It's just you can see it's tonally absolutely all over the place, but without a sense of fun or
Machine
silliness
Gun
to
Granny,
like
you've
appeal
seen
to
that
some people.
in Goldfinger.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably why one of the reasons why maybe I don't work in the business, but I, I wouldn't know how to how that happens. I mean, to me, it's probably just sheer luck. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
This Machine Gun Granny character Alice that was due to be Diana Rigg.
Mm.
Okay. Are we at the same place? I'm not quite sure if I've seen her yet or
I
not.
think Becca's ahead of me
Becca is ahead of you.
with
She's pointed to.
adverts.
I'm pretty sure
Sorry,
she's
when you
sort
get to it,
of.
there's Machine Gun Granny scene.
Yeah,
Okay.
And the character was due to be played by Diana
Yeah.
Rigg, but she went, F that.
so it would have been a sizable role for her.
Yeah. Okay. Tires screeching. There we go. We've just got to Eileen Atkins. Yeah. Yeah, she was still starring in like Doc Martin, which is just a TV show, a very light TV show from this country, sort of set in the county I'm from, I live in anyway. I'm from the next one over. But she's like she made her last episode of that when she was about 88, and she looks the same as she does here. But yeah,
That
Uma.
is a bit of a trope, I know that Granny with
I
a
mean,
machine gun.
when you think Nicole Kidman, who's a couple of years older than her, about 2.5 years older, because I think her birthday's like early 1970, I think, and Nicole Kidman's like 67. So their peaks. It depends what you define a peak as. If we think about it in the slightly sexist Hollywood way, of we mean sort of probably late 20s mixture of experience, exposure, and still being relatively young. You think of Nicole Kidman, she went through quite a run. She had to Die For, which sort of gave her some real chops. And then she did make a Batman film that wasn't that great. But then around the time she divorced Tom Cruise, she just had a run of pretty successful films. And then you look at Uma Thurman and you think, well, Kill Bill aside, what would we point to? Gattaca, but that was quite a small hit. Yeah, she didn't. Yeah, you think she had two massive budget
Pulp,
films in
Pulp
in two
Fiction was
years.
probably.
Pulp Fiction is iconic, but it was an ensemble piece. I'm probably being unfair there because Pulp Fiction is probably more iconic than any of the films I could name from either of their filmographies.
I mean,
But my
if I'm remembering right, Uma Thurman wasn't like I wouldn't say she was like a proper like star, but she was like well known like a name because she's just been in like stuff regularly. So when So when like in Kill Bill came around, it wasn't so much that it was like, oh my God, it's Uma Thurman. It's like it's Tarantino's next film,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh
she was certainly a big-ish name though.
yeah, yeah,
But
that's
I
what I
mean,
mean.
I first became aware of her, as often in Hollywood, you get competing projects on the um, same topic. So the same year as Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves came out, Patrick Bergin was in a film called Robin Hood, and she played
Mm.
Maid Marian in that version. I think she was still married to Gary Oldman at the time, but she was only about 19 or 20 filming it. And I remember seeing her and just thinking, who's that? Because A, she's about 19, 20 at the time, and I'm like, well, a teenager myself. But also, it's not about whether she's pretty or not. You can see why she could be like a top model, because quite often it's not about being pretty as much as it's about being really striking.
Mm.
And she's got such a striking look. And she's aged quite well as well. Mind you, Halle Berry's 60 this year.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that.
No, but we've been going so long, I remember us
He
saying,
finds us
"Oh,
still
Halle Berry's
extremely
50 this
handsome.
year."
I just like to throw in that point of view.
Fine. I can't disagree
He still looks
particularly.
good. Yeah, Halle Berry hasn't aged as well. I went to go to see Crime 101. She
It's
looks
very, very
fabulous.
subtle, her aging. Yeah, very subtle. She looks really good. I don't even know what this film is, honestly. I
It's a mess, is what it is. It's a mess.
Oh, yeah. And what's this? Is he going to sexually assault her?
Hope not.
Well, it did look like he was going to have a little bit of a feel there, and I don't mean that in my usual try and make comedy out of it.
Well, he is a bit obsessed with her, so he's
he
a
is
bit
he is
like,
the villain.
Yeah, because she likes watching the weather. You know, they probably bonded over a love of Michael Fish.
No, there won't be a hurricane. And then there was.
Ah, that's what made him not top notch in my eyes. I'm more of a Bill Giles man. When you awaken, you will remember nothing. Dialogue by Bill Cosby.
in the pudding pot. No,
So where we got? Got to try and get the mechanical
it's
bees. Yeah,
this is the second time that Ralph Fiennes has just been like knocked out.
having a kip. Yeah, yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, so you can tell this is proper written for um Danny Rigg because you can just sort of envision like, oh, like the original Emma Peel with the new John Steed in this bit.
Yeah, yeah. He's sort of undressing her and where I'm up to, or slightly.
I mean, even his Bond wasn't this.
Yeah. Not unless he could get them fired or something, unless they sucked him off. Hmm. Yeah.
There's a scene coming up, or you might have seen it already.
They spend an
Where
inordinate amount of this film lying down, considering it's an action film.
yeah, they're like either go to sleep lying down.
This director would do all his porn standing up, wouldn't he? It's not got it the right way round at all.
I can't have a rest.
I mean, would he really answer his own door?
Probably not.
Can somebody get that? I'm busy molesting
Busy having a lie
somebody.
down. I'm busy lying down. He's
Mrs.
resting,
Peel.
drinking a cup of tea.
Th th this amount of candles just seems like a bit of an accident waiting to happen now, isn't
Do you know the film that I really thought that on was when like Picard goes to like Guinan's quarters in like Enterprise, yeah, Star Trek Enterprise, and she's on this spaceship just surrounded by candles, and I'm like,
That's a fire hazard.
you don't really want a fire hazard out here, do you?
No, that's health and safety. Do they have health and safety in the future? Probably not,
What? Because they've solved it.
because they sold health and safety. Yes, like they sold pay people wages.
Okay, so
They solved that
this
issue.
seems to have a constantly changing layout. How does that work?
It's a maze.
Because it's kooky.
I like the kind of the Escher style staircase. That's pretty cool.
So, for example, if I wanted to be kooky and sort of a bit eccentric in a way that women would love, what I should have done when I was single is bring a woman home, invite her into the bedroom, and then confidently show her into the bathroom, and she'll just think I've got something like this.
Something really cool to show you
Yeah.
in here.
Well, it was the bedroom before you got here.
Now, now, is it implied that it's like this is also like a bit of like the drug, like she's a bit drugged up, so she's having
Yeah,
a bit of.
it actually could be. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense because we're literally seeing it from not her point of view, but like,
Yeah, but you very rarely see first person, do you? So
uh,
it's always somebody's point of view. You think of any films where it's very subjective on somebody's. I mean, think Vanilla Sky or something where you go, "Is this really happening?" You're not seeing it from his eyes, are you?
no,
It's got a sort of very dreamlike quality to it.
Yeah. So at the moment, we've had a lot of them laying down, being unconscious, talking about weather, and now he's checking the stonemasonry.
tapping a blacked out window. Hmm.
Well, she's worked out it's double-sided now because he tapped on it. So she's going to throw herself through it now and presumably be like unconscious because that's what they do in this film.
And not have any sort of serious
Ba
injuries from broken glass
yeah,
or anything.
basically, and yeah, Steed and Peel basically have early onset dementia by the end of their 40s,
God.
which is something they could have
Hmm.
explored in a sequel if this had done better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing how that never happened.
it's all just like delusions and hallucinations.
It's all a dream. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
all a dream.
Mm.
Oh, I've got you some
It, it,
boots. Here you are.
the funny thing is, the film is
There
really
we
short.
go.
The film is really short. We barrel from one scene to the next, but I think because of the stilted way they're talking to each other and that there is a lot of unconsciousness, the film doesn't feel like it's in any hurry at all.
No, it's all just a bad dream.
It's almost like it doesn't know it's 85 minutes long. It's just like,
Well, it probably wasn't. Well, actually, it wasn't to begin with. So
it's a bit like, if Fellowship of the Ring had like finished and Frodo is still pissing around in the Shire because he thought he had a bit longer.
go on, Frodo, we've got to go.
Maybe they're
The
right to
film's
cut
three
it
hours
down.
long.
Maybe like a 2 hour cut would have been like, oh my God, this is just dragging so
The
much.
director's cut. Oh my God.
The other thing is, as well, is what reputation are you salvaging either way? Because we laugh at Superman 4 as the example I keep coming back to. Not Batman and Robin, because they made the film they meant to make. It's just the film they make was crap. Same with Die Another Day. But Superman 4, we know, I think something like 40 minutes was cut out of it. Something
Mm,
like that. I may be slightly wrong. But the thing is, when people talk about Superman 4, they talk about the performances, the script, some of the logic, he buys the newspaper to make a profit and then just gives away the one thing that might make him a profit. Um, he gets Superman's DNA, fires it at the sun, and he comes back with Gene Hackman's voice, which makes you think, what have you been doing with that package? And all those sorts of things. It's very rarely the major point that they say it doesn't make sense. Now, although it doesn't, they create Nuclear Man, send him after Superman. He hurts Superman. He finds a way to get better. He beats Nuclear Man. There is still some through line in it. There's only things like where he turns up and says, "Where's the woman?" And you go, "Well, theoretically, you
where's the
don't know
woman?
that woman. You don't know that woman because you've never met her. And in fact, it was the previous version of you, if you like, that met her." Um, Had you released the 120 whatever minute version of Superman 4, I think we'd still be
When
sat here going,
when they go
one of
to
the
the
worst
club,
films.
when they go to that disco, and
And you got Clive Mantle as the first version, who's just
mm,
like very childlike. But the point I'm making is, if that version had come out, you take away the it doesn't make sense argument, but that's not the major knock on the film anyway. I think what I'm trying to say is the film would still be seen as the disaster it's seen now, which kind of both argues against your argument and supports it at the same time.
mm.
Because you're saying, well, why butcher it? And I kind of agree, but in cases where they've done that, I'm not sure if you put all the original stuff back in, it would make more sense, but it would just be a longer disaster.
I mean, there is also, and it's just occurred to me. This is a scene with Patrick Macnee. Um,
Oh yeah, Invisible, yeah, it's the
yeah,
voice.
it has occurred to me that it could be like like a mercy killing. Like you cut it down, and then it's a turkey. Then you've kind of got like the
Yeah.
excuse of like,
Yeah,
well, you know,
you get it in screens. You get an extra screening in each screen a day, and then
yeah.
you're knowing it'll blow out in 2 weeks.
But also you've got like the kind of like, well, all right, well, it would be it'll be less embarrassing for the filmmakers on the cast that if the studio becomes more of the baddies than then it becomes like more, it appears more their their fault. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It could be actually that because because imagine if this was like, you know, the studio was absolutely fine, just released it, and like I said, what if it just dragged? It was the same, but it was just longer, and it just dragged. You know, it would have been more like harmful on the say the careers of like the director to say
Certainly the director, yeah.
to be like,
Uh,
well, you know, yeah, rather than saying like because at least he could say, well, the studio kind of took it off me.
The thing
I
is
mean,
now characters are popping in and out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just all very strange. But I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer. It depends on the case. The thing that just occurred to me though is why do we not see more tax write-offs? Now I'll just put context to that before you give me what you think once you understand what I'm asking. But Batgirl, or Batwoman, I can't remember what its name was now, but it was a film that was going to come out late in the DCEU. It was supposed to come out before The Flash. It was meant to introduce you back to Michael Keaton's Batman. There's lots of shots from the set of it. I think it was meant to be a I can't remember now, but it was a black lady whose name I can't remember, but she was dressed in the fairly classic yellow and purple outfit. They filmed it in its entirety. We're just about to start doing effects, and they used it as a tax write-off basically because what I understand of American tax, which is very, very little, is that when corporations make a loss, they can sort of set it against their profits. Now, I know what I mean by that, but I don't think I've explained it properly, even to an American who might understand it and be listening to this. But I know that, like, whatever the rights and wrongs of the man, the Trump organization didn't pay tax for years because of some profit or write down on one year. What I'm trying to say is you can write things off as a sort of against what tax you're meant to pay, but the deal is you can never release it. And now Michael Keaton is a big name actor. He's not necessarily huge box office anymore. I don't know if you could do it with a film of this profile, but I'm surprised we don't see it more often, where a film is an outright disaster. And in this day and age, particularly more so now than then, it's all over the internet. It's a disaster. It's all over social media. It's a disaster. And you think, well, why don't you just write it off rather than put it out and try and promote it? Because you still got to do TV shots and
mm.
TV
Yeah,
spots
probably
and
some. There's
trailers.
probably some legal niggles why it doesn't happen. Otherwise, it probably would.
Unless it's when you're dealing with someone who's just been in an Oscar-nominated film, the great Sean Connery as well, that perhaps you couldn't be seen to be doing that. Whereas the only real name that I can recall in the Bat I'm going to say Batwoman because I can't remember which one it name was the name now. Um, was Michael Keaton. The lead actress wasn't a big name.
Maybe because films were, um, well, say I would say Hollywood in general wasn't is it was in a better place. So
I've
it
got
could
another theory on it, yeah,
it
and it
could
might be the theory you're about to say.
it could be because they're a bit more like, well, we can
We'll
take
give
a
it a
bit more
shot.
chance.
I'm just wondering if the home market is part of it as well.
Oh yeah, true,
In
yeah.
that,
Yeah, that's going to be a
DVD.
big
I
chunk of
hadn't
it, I
even
think.
thought of that. If you think of, I mean, a classic example would be Shawshank Redemption. Absolutely died at the box office. Now a beloved classic that must have turned a profit for the rights holders many times over. Um, so it could be an element of that as well, that maybe it will find its audience later.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a few examples of like yeah, when a film kind of it literally died on its backside when it comes to the box office, but then finds an audience on home release day. So yeah, Shawshank is a prime example.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life's another. Now, obviously, that wasn't so much the video and DVD market, but when somebody forgot to renew the rights to it, the patent, or not the patent, but the rights to broadcast, you normally have to pay for that, and
Yeah,
somebody
somebody didn't
didn't.
check that box.
Yeah, basically in the 70s, they could stations were showing it for free.
But also, yeah, I mean, kind of these films. Obviously now the landscape's different. Obviously streaming and that sort of thing, and
Mm.
it's just yeah, it's a totally different landscape now as well. But
Probably less
sometimes like
profit for
the,
individual studios on one
this is
property,
it.
yeah.
They you don't always have, especially the older properties as well. There's no obviously they can't see into the future. There's no that kind of foresight involved. But then sort of cultural rules change as well. I mean, there are films like made sort of like in the 40s and 50s that were very controversial and now have been, you know, the cultural tide has changed as well.
Well, A Clockwork Orange wasn't available for years, and now it's
No, it was
beloved.
banned, wasn't it? Banned for many
Yeah,
years.
well, I mean, he banned it himself effectively, but you
He
you
did,
get
but
my
then
point.
also video nasties and that in the 80s have now come out and
Yeah,
since
I
been
know.
held as
I, I
masterpieces
I
or
guess the other thing that would occur to me is, even though this doesn't have any of the fun of Austin Powers was an
it
affectionate
wants
look at
to,
the.
but it just doesn't.
But but
There's
but
just
when you
it's
think
lacking.
Austin Powers International Man of Mystery came out in '97 in the summer, I saw a trailer at the end of the Barry Norman film program. It was a bit of a curiosity because Wayne from Wayne's World was in it. It wasn't expected to do much, and it did in 1997 money about $120 million dollars, or maybe less, but certainly north of 80 or 90. And because it was the sequel that got all the hype. Um, and it was an affectionate look back at like the spy properties
I
of
think because
like
it
the
was quite risque
60s.
as well. Didn't it have like a sort of 15 certificate or something like that? It was a
I
bit,
don't remember, if I'm
or 12,
honest.
15 or something. It was seen as sort of quite risque for the time.
But the point I'm making is only the year before you've put out, in that case, a reasonably low budget, affectionate look back at sort of the spy craze of the 60s. They might have thought, A, this will find its audience,
You had
or they
Bond as
might,
well, so
they might just think, well, people might just go and see it or buy it anyway, because Pierce Brosnan's Bond at this point was at the peak of his popularity.
yeah, still a short distance away from Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm not Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm Die Another Day.
Die Another Day was popular, but we know culturally it sort of killed the character for a while.
Hmm.
But I remember when The World Is Not Enough came out, we still have Heat magazine now, but in
Do we?
1999, I think we do. We used to have Heat magazine. I don't know if it still
Well,
exists.
that's sort of late 90s, mid to late 90s. It was kind of peak of like Lads Mag as well, wasn't it? As
Yeah,
a
but it
Heat
wasn't a
magazine.
lads mag. Am I thinking of something else? Anyway, there was a magazine that years later became very gossipy and TMZ sort of type thing.
Is it still
But
going? It is still
but
going. It
I,
looks
I
like
remember going into a
might go
co-op,
online.
and
Heat magazine
all supermarkets had like newsstands back then because people did buy
still
magazines and stuff.
going. Still
And there was a
going.
picture of Brosnan on the front, and it said "Goodbye 007 question mark," right? So I thought I've got to read this. And this was just after The World Is Not Enough has come out. And the article, whatever I say or think, was asking the question, is Pierce Brosnan irreplaceable as James Bond? Because Roger Moore did it till it was a parody of itself. Dalton wasn't popular at the time. I wish he was, but he wasn't. Brosnan came into the role, and it continually was like, The World Is Not Enough was like unadjusted, the most or adjusted. No, let me think. I get those terms mixed up. Basically, not in bums on seats, but in terms of cash, it was the most successful at the time. So what I'm saying is, and the same year the Thomas Crown Affair came out, previous year you've had, like we say, Austin Powers, and I just think that this was fertile ground to just throw it out and see what happened. Even Batman and Robin made a pop profit, but I can't see anything particularly fun about this film, and I just feel like uh, he's not a director. He was never a director, but I almost feel like they should have been showing Sean Connery the rushes of all of his fellow performers. So he could go to them and say, I'm playing it like this. Can you do that as well? It's surprisingly dark for a film that's quite light, as for a property that should be a bit
Yeah,
lighter
so
as
it's meant to be
well.
sort of very camp and very sort of frothy, and it's just not.
Well, it's fallen between two stools. I mean, it's like Uma Thurman here, right? She's playing Emma Peel. Obviously, she don't look like Diana Rigg, but you can approximate it. That's fine. But when she played Poison, they took a woman I've always thought is quite attractive in an unusual way. And when she played Poison Ivy in several scenes in that film, she looked terrible because the makeup and hair they did with her. They've made her look great here. They've, I can't think of anyone better to play Steed than him at this point. So, like, it's all got its heart in the right
It
place.
probably would
Even
have been
Mother.
somebody like him or Greg Wise or
I don't.
um,
Oh, Greg Wise is no Greg.
Rupert Sewell, somebody like that.
Right. I'm not into men, so I can't comment on this because I don't want to insult. Greg Wise at this point might have been a bit too. I'm
Maybe
not
he's too
saying he's,
young
but no, I'm
or too
not
old.
saying. Right, I'm trying to explain this as someone who's not attracted to men to see if you get what I mean. I'm not suggesting he's not as Ray Fiennes is less attractive, but Greg Wise was almost pretty.
I think
Like
they're both kind of.
I
I don't
can't
know.
see him as I can't see him as John Steed. I can see him as James Bond
Oh,
though.
he's very handsome now. Well, he's very handsome anyway, but he's very handsome
You know
now.
what I'm trying to say though,
Yeah,
because I'm trying to map it onto Patrick McNee, and like Ray Fiennes is like a Hollywood Patrick McNee,
but he's
if
got
you know
like
what
this.
I mean.
He's got the
Better
floppy
looking.
hair and everything as well, and
Yeah, no, you're
you could
right.
argue he was a bit of a pretty boy back in his day.
I thought Uma looks great in this film. They've certainly like costumed and made everyone look good.
I think obviously it's Poison Ivy. Obviously, everything's like exaggerated, isn't it? I mean, she's got that ridiculous kind of red or green costume. She's got like
Was
the
it
boots
Mae
up to here.
West? I always get confused. Is she the actress who did that voice? Mae West, the voice she's doing as Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I think it is meant to be Mae West.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got that ridiculous kind of bizarre hairdo.
Okay, we're getting
Um,
close to the end now. It's just going to be blowjob and credits, I think.
Yeah.
but at least fans know that they actually
Well,
got together
we
in
got
this
another
film.
20 minutes yet.
Oh Christ!
Have we? What are they going? Oh, it's not going to be 20 minutes of noisy blowjob, is it?
No, no,
Unfortunately,
he's got a fight Sean Connery.
Oh, is he? All right.
Yeah.
they got to have the
Well,
ultimate
well, if she
duel.
starts him off, he can fight him with his erection. Oh God, I've done too much Spanish lately because it came up and I'd read technicamente.
Técnicamente,
Yeah,
there might be a Spanish dub.
I
What about
doubt it.
these globes that they're walking in across the water? Is it like
Um,
Zorbing, like Zorb?
you might be ahead of me. They're still talking after their little kiss.
Okay, I just had a little ITV ad break.
Domino. Hoo, hoo.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's obviously there's
It,
two versions of the sub.
it was always Enterprise on ITV.
I honestly think if my
Yeah,
wife here sees that advert more than another 10 times, my TV's going out the window.
it's good. Oh, it's bloody everywhere,
She
isn't it?
she
You know,
she cannot stand it. She really that just
you,
when they say it. Yeah.
you know what? No, I always say to my wife, like whenever I see like a really bad advert or really annoying advert, it makes me sort of turn to us like that acting makes me not want to purchase or
Yeah, don't buy that product.
yeah.
No, exactly. So you're not going to buy Domino's Pizza now.
Do you know the one that did that? I'm not as bothered by it as her. The one that used to do it for me as a kid was Orangina. Oh, was it Orangina or Sunny Delight? One of them had a really loud singing on it and it bothered me.
Oh no,
And I
probably
feel
probably
sorry for
Sunny D.
sessions. I feel sorry for session singers where they think they've got a good enough voice to make a living, right? And then they go, well, maybe I could be a backing singer for Taylor Swift or X star, right? I'm not distinctive enough to be a star in my own right, or I don't have the right look or whatever, but I can make a living from doing this. and then they've got to go into a studio and sing passionately about toilet roll.
Hmm. I mean,
Let's think about Umbongo.
the thing is though with those gigs that those are just like sort of like paid sort of
Yeah, but
whatever.
I know they get paid, but you've been passionate about music all your life. People have been telling you what a wonderful life, what a
And you go
wonderful
and do an
voice you've
advert about
got,
toilet roll.
and how, and then you've got to go into a studio and sing about body form.
But
Yeah,
40 years later, you're still singing the theme tune. So
but
there we go. Who's
yeah,
laughing now?
but it'd be the same as like the people do voiceover for ads, like um like Rob Brydon does a load, doesn't he? And he can always
I
sort
know
of
he does.
That's funny.
he can always tell.
Nick got up.
Um, but it is it is a skill though. It is
It is a
actually
skill. Are you friends with is it Steve Clark on Facebook, the one who moved down to Australia? Are you friends
uh
with him?
I might be yes. I
Yeah,
don't.
he actually did voiceover work for things like British Gas back in the day.
Oh, did
But
he?
yeah, he did. He's got quite a distinctive voice. It's not velvety. It's not like a Kelsey Grammer or something, but it's distinctive enough to get your attention. The one I think when it bothers me is when it's I, d- I get Rob Brydon doing it because that's quite a trusted accent. He's quite well known, and he's normally even if you don't like his comedy, he's regarded with warmth generally.
Mhm.
But it's when they're talking about British Gas or something, and they say, "We at British Gas, we do X," and I'm like, "Well, you don't work for them. Technically, you do because they've just thrown you some money, but like,
Yeah, hold on. You're
we
not
at
on the
British
staff.
Gas, you're not out checking meters, are you?"
If it breaks down, we're not going to get you doing the call out.
Oh, what was the other one? Power Gen back in the day. Bringing you the give. Oh, I think it was
Pardon?
bringing you what it said something like whatever the weather. I can't remember what the full saying was now. It's like thanks, we do pay for it. Are we supposed
Yeah,
to be
something like
grateful we
that.
got electricity when it's fucking raining?
I'm not sure what adverts annoy me. I don't watch very much in the way of live TV.
I don't know yet. That I think our generation have largely avoided it, haven't we? So we have to deal with we just have to deal with like everything being targeted in our feeds. I mean, literally a day or two ago, because of my mum's mobility, I looked up stair lifts.
So now they're everywhere, aren't they?
Now I'm just being advertised that all the time.
That's one thing. Is obviously if I
Yeah,
do well. The only sort of main channels I probably would watch is probably ITV, or like Talking Pictures or those kind of channels. And obviously, due to the demographic, it does tend to be like funeral plans, mobility aids, and things like that. So, of course,
yeah.
obviously they receive a lot of their funding
The
by these
classic, the
adverts.
one I find really funny though, is when you buy something maybe online or something like that, or you've been in and they've got your address. You buy a sofa, and next week they want to know if you want another one.
It's like, no, I got one
It's like
already.
this that's quite a finite resource in terms of your house.
Yeah, I've already
It's
bought
You're
a
like
not going to be
sofa.
in
I've
it.
got room for another one.
You're not get, I mean,
how much house and money do you think I
it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah. Do you think I
mugs.
live in a
Say
mansion?
you've got a quirky enjoyment of mugs. Like I don't really, but I do have a Barcelona one and a Plymouth Argyle one and an Inter Milan and like a Bond
Yeah, fair
one.
enough.
Right. So over the years, I've picked up one or two of those. So you could, if you think, oh, Dave, you're interested in that topic, here's a mug about it. I
Here's a
might go,
mug.
yeah, that
Yep, you're
looks
going to
pretty
buy
cool,
it.
right? But
But not
like,
for a sofa or a
you
bed or
can't
some
really
large
be a
furniture
sofa
item.
enthusiast, can you?
Come
You can walk into someone's home
and
and they
see to my
go,
sofa room. I
you
have
can
my
walk into
collection.
someone's home and they've got basically like, I don't know, um, pottery, or they like figurines of ballerinas, or they like crystal. So they've got a slightly disproportionate amount of it. But you don't walk into someone's home and they've got seven sofas in the living room because they
Unless
just
they got a
can't
massive
stop
living
themselves.
room.
I
Well,
really I love my oven, so now I've got four.
and I've got 10. Um, oh, you know what? If you've got like a mansion to furnish, then fair enough. But no, most people just have one.
Yeah, but
But
yeah.
you have
So
two.
I bought from like DFS or something, and they've been trying to sell me a sofa. They've stopped now, but for about 4 years, they tried to sell me a sofa at least twice a week.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just like, oh, or if you've like looked at a brand online, or like if you're looking at holidays, you'll get targeted adverts that will say, oh, go on holiday to Dubai or go on holiday to Costa del Sol or something. And it's just like, bloody hell, go away.
Yeah, and it's normally right after you book one. So you book
Yeah,
a holiday,
literally.
and then they were. I love it when like Wizz Air's a great one. Wizz Air and Ryanair are the two lowest rated airlines for customer satisfaction in Europe, right?
And I'll push those
Now,
ads.
Ryanair, you know quite well, but Wizz Air is who we have to use to go to Romania because of the city she's from, right? In British terms, although it's a lot smaller, it's you can think of it as somewhere between its second and fourth city.
Right.
So, in British terms, you're looking at it being maybe a Leeds, something like that. Anyway, maybe a Birmingham, but probably not. More like a Leeds. And Wizz Air. So you book a flight, and they can see from my history, I've literally used them to go from Luton to Iași in Romania 3 times, and then an extra time when my wife went on her own, and then an extra time now to go wherever. And then they write to me and say, this weekend only, do you want to go from like Rome to Bulgaria? And it's like, no, not really.
No, thank you.
Bit random.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Oh.
So we've seen you've done X. Would you like Y?
Yeah,
No,
explore our new routes. Does Dublin to Norway? And you go, well, I don't live in either. How's that going to work?
no, I don't want to go to either of these places. Thank you. It's so random, isn't it? So it's like this is what the algorithm predicts you'll like. You've done X, so therefore you might like to do Y.
But they've got no choice if they want to make revenue, so they have to look at what you're looking at. The problem is there's a serious side to that
Yeah,
because society
they
can't even
predict
agree on
that's
the
where the market's going to go
we
next.
can't even agree on the facts of anything anymore. Not us three. We tend to be quite reasonable, I think, but we don't even agree on the facts of what's going on in the world because we're all seeing different, completely different feeds with
No,
completely different takes
there's a
on
lot of
everything.
fake news as well.
Yeah, you can't even trust even what you read
Can't
or
trust the
see.
BBC. No, you can't. Is it real? Who knows? It's just a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah. Are you sure you're up for this, dear boy? Is he going to give him 10 to 10 inches overnight as well?
I must say, like this film has been terrible, but
It's been unremarkable in every way.
I do think I think this final fight is quite good. I
But
reckon.
see, that's always a question. That's always a question, though, isn't it? Like, is it worse to be flat out awful or boring? Like,
This is boring.
what's worse?
I
Like,
think when it's bad, like you can kind of enjoy it on a so bad it's kind of good, or so bad it's bad. But if it's just boring, then
The
no.
example I always give is the Frank Miller film The Spirit, which was a very strange film from about 2009. It had Samuel L. Jackson. It had Scarlett Johansson at the peak of her sort of sex siren phase. Not that she was necessarily promoting that, but she was gorgeous in that film. And for about 45 minutes, I was getting quite excited because I thought I could be seeing one of the definingly bad films of my life. And there's a certain joy of that. And then in the second half, it picked up just to be appalling, and I was a bit disappointed. So if you're going to be bad, you've got to be really bad. I mean, the thing is, if you took because it's the
basically, you got to be the
Avengers,
room. Basically, is that
yeah,
what you?
yeah. The point is with this, right? Because it's the Avengers, and that conjures up certainly in the film critics of the time that would remember the original, or at least look it up. Because obviously, if I had to go and review this and it was coming out now, I'd be making an effort to see what did the original look like. Um, if you took the title, if the Avengers had never existed, and you made this property called the Avengers with this guy John Steed and a boss bizarrely called Mother, this quality of cast who were all really well regarded back here as well. Jim Broadbent was not a secret at this point. Ralph Fiennes had been in Oscar-winning films at this point. Uma Thurman was a name from Pulp Fiction, as you rightly pointed out, and I sort of almost forgot, but also Gattaca and things like that, which was a brilliant film. Um, it had this come out and you watched it without the pressure of the IP, I think you'd just be thinking, what made them sign up for this? There's really nothing in this. I don't see it as a complete embarrassment. I see it as a bit of a nothing. But it becomes an embarrassment because it's got the Avengers name on it and it's got an absolute A-list cast. And that isn't with the benefit of hindsight. You know, like when you go back to The Godfather and you go, oh my God, that's got Marlon Brando, it's got like Al Pacino, it's got Robert Duvall, it's yeah, and so on, yeah.
Mm.
Well, they weren't that at that time. Marlon Brando was, but like it was only Al Pacino's third film. But like this isn't hindsight. These are all quite big stars by now. The English Patient had largely swept the Oscars the very year this came out, and he'd already been Oscar nominated for
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. What was
Was
that
it Schindler's
film?
List or I mean, I know he
No,
was in that.
he played Amon, whatever the last name was, Goth or whatever, however
Oh
you
my God,
pronounce that
yeah, he
last
was
name.
horrible in that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually put weight on to give himself a bit of a belly to look him greedy and
Er,
but then he was in Quiz Show in '95, which
that's an
was a
excellent
real
film.
yeah, but it was a real cult hit.
It was.
It did decent money, but it was a sort of
It
film
wasn't
everyone
amazing, but
was
it kind
talking
of gathered
about.
pace
And but yeah,
afterwards.
but they also marketed it really well in that there are films I can remember that I saw, and there are trailers I can remember. But then there are films where I can remember seeing nothing but trailers for months. Quiz Show was one. I'll tell you another one. All the way through my first year at university, I was seeing trailers for Copycat, the Sigourney
Oh,
Weaver
that's a good
film
film.
with
Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah.
Harry Connick
Yeah.
Jr., you're right. I saw trailers of that for so long, and it's like they marketed it really well. And there are films like that where you remember the campaign, even if the film was good. It's not about, well, the film was a disappointment. Same was true of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I was seeing these intriguing trailers for months.
How do you drink
Um,
champagne? Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, big marketing. You can just go on, and then sort of the film comes out, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
So what I mean is, like, Ray Fiennes was not a secret at this point.
No,
Sean Connery was probably almost in like his third peak, if you like, because you had the Bond era. And then you had sort of the 80s up through
I
the
forgot.
Untouchables and things like that. Some of his best films were in the 70s, but they weren't always successful. And he had this run at around the turn of the century where films that did quite well, like Finding Forrester and that sort of thing.
I think he
Just
had a sort of run sort of films like
So he would have just done
with
the
the Sidney
rock in
Lumet,
this.
for example, like where he had kind of really showed his acting chops. Like for Connery, I think the
sorry, what
films that
film did you just say, Becca?
so what's that film? Is it The Offense? And some other films he made with
Yeah,
like
The
Sidney Lumet and
Offense.
people like that.
Yeah, see, that's what
Um,
I'm saying. In the 70s, he did like The Offense and the Anderson tapes and stuff like that.
Anderson Tapes, that's the film I was going
And
for.
I
Yeah,
almost
sorry.
count Outlanders amongst his 70s output because even though it's 1981, it's at the end of that period where it's a bit culty. Um, I mean, his modern era. I mean, he did In the Name of the Rose, to be fair, but his modern era probably started with like high. Well, In the Name of the Rose because it was very highly rated, and then obviously he did Highlander, and then he did The Untouchables, which he got an Oscar for. But then he had a mini run around the time of things like Entrapment, where he was suddenly box office gold again.
Yeah, that was a big hit in '99. That.
Entrapment was,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's almost got like a cult following as well now, hasn't it? Chapman over the years.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, he would have worked for a few more years, but Sean Connery just had a. I don't want to say too much in terms of like guessing what he thought and stuff, because I hate when someone does that to me. I bet you think this, and it's like, well, you don't know, do you? But I got the impression he had a very, not short temper, that implies someone flying off the handle all the time. But he got to an age where he was
He
like, I
didn't
can't
tolerate
be.
fools too much.
Yeah, exactly that. If he thought you were a good director, you were laughing. He couldn't stand Norrington on that film. And the end film was a bit of a disaster anyway. That's another one where I remember the campaign, but it's not as positive as stories. The end film was rubbish, but they were trailering that film for a long time, and it was crap. And I think he just went, "I've had enough of this. I'm in my 70s now. Forget it."
Yeah, leave me alone.
I don't know what era this is meant to be because I know it's got a retro feel, but it's got a load of modern stuff in it. But then you just saw the Houses of Parliament a couple of minutes ago, and it's surrounded by fuck all in terms of modern buildings. I mean,
I
like,
mean, well, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I know what London might look like now, but
but even in
but all, but
'98, yeah, all right, it's
I
not
mean, I
that
don't.
important, really,
Yeah,
is it? Oh well,
it's over now.
well, yeah. Tell us when the joke. Yeah, tell us when the forget. It's about to cut to someone else on mine, and I can't reach to change it. So just tell us when the bloody joke thing's finished.
Well, I'm on
Right.
credits now.
All right.
Yeah, I finished about 5 minutes ago.
All right. So, what we doing next, folks? So we can talk about this on air for people, so they know what to expect. we've got a choice between knocking out Moonraker or whatever the next Hitchcock film we do is. The
I
thing
think
is,
we're all chomping at the bit to do Moonraker, aren't we? Because we've all
the
recently
only
read it.
reason I'm suggesting Moonraker, right, it isn't that I don't want to do Hitchcock. It's that I want to do a run of Hitchcock. I want to actually get back into it and do like 4 or 5 films and dig in again.
So
Mm.
let's do Moonraker, and then we can do that.
All right.
Okay, so we're
I've,
doing another book. I mean, I suppose we did leave like a huge gap between book reviews, so we are catching up.
yeah, well, we did a huge gap between a lot of things. We'll get back
Mm.
into the swing of things, and I think once we start Hitchcock again, we're back into like the story of a series. I find that with a lot of things. I
Especially when it's
don't
such a
like.
long series as well. It's good to punctuate every so often.
Well, I mean, we were talking. I don't want to go into like language learning, but I was having this conversation with Becca beforehand, and I find with that topic, I prefer to like stick on a topic and sort of learn from following that through. I don't like little fragmented bits. So I think once we're back into Hitchcock, we'll be absolutely laughing. But yeah. All right, folks. Trailer's still going or not? Or credits rather.
Yeah, quit's still going. So,
Yeah,
final
film
All
is
right.
finished for
thoughts.
me at long last. Oh.
Final
So, what
thoughts.
is your first thought on your first viewing of?
Yeah, Dave, how have you found it? Obviously, very
Um,
boring.
Utterly underwhelming. It wasn't embarrassing
Oh,
to the point of like that's the problem. If you're going to be bad, be hilariously bad, or
And it wasn't
be
even hilariously bad.
or be incompetently bad, where you go, "That's your effect shot, is it?" You know what I mean? Um, it's a bit like Batman and Robin is like embarrassingly bad, and like Superman 4 is like incompetently bad. And I just think that like that was neither. Now, what I would normally think is I need to see how they sound talking to each other. I need to follow the plot without interruption. I certainly won't do it very often. If I ever do it again, do a commentary with you guys without watching the film because it's suboptimal. But I thought that might be hilariously bad, and I'd be discovering it in real time. Frankly, it was really underwhelming in every regard. And I just think that was a bit of a shame. So I sort of wish I'd watched it first now, but that's only with the hindsight of the end result. But at the same time, I don't want to go back and see it. I've still got it for like 48 hours. I won't bother.
I don't think you would have missed out on much because it is kind of like it just doesn't quite get there. It feels like something doesn't click where you watch it and it's just
Mm.
something that you're watching, but you're not really
I'm going to
engaging
throw
with.
out a thought because we really have to go in a minute when the credits finish. I'm going to throw out a thought, and I don't even know what I mean. It's a thought that like jumped into my head, and I can't explain what I mean by it. I feel like I was watching the dress rehearsal.
Okay.
Um, I've not thought that through at all, but it's like they've put the suits on, they're practicing where their marks are, and
I know what
It's the
you
B roll. It's very much the
I
B
know what
roll,
you mean.
can you do your dialogue just for while we do the like
just for show.
references and all that?
Yeah.
I feel like I was watching the dress rehearsal there. It was like just a little bit off the topic. I know of like some famous performers who never do it in rehearsal or they never do it in read through. They always do a fairly flat version, and when when you yell action, they do it, and you go, "Oh my God, where did that come from?" Kelsey Grammer's very famous for it. There's a few others, and I feel like I was watching them all do that, which is a shame because that should if it's not going to be good, it can at least be campy fun, and that really wasn't. But there you go.
Yeah.
What about you guys before we sign off?
Becca, what's your
Yeah, it's quite enough. Yeah, it's a shame. It had a lot of potential. Obviously, there was a lot of riding, and it was, always quite popular to revive sort of classic IP. Um, Connery's having good fun, or he tries to have good fun cheering all the scenery. It's all just kind of very weird or very strange. They drink lots of tea, don't drink a lot of champagne, maybe right at the very end. Um, very dodgy 90s CG. I mean, the cast are all great. They're trying to do their best with the terrible material, but it's just not there really. It's kind of not really a patch on the original, or not even comes close to what we would see in um,
I think that's what Chris
other
is
spy
saying,
films.
isn't it?
Yeah, pretty
Just
much the
doesn't
same.
work.
It just kind of fall flat on its face, unfortunately. I think a lot of it was left on the cutting room floor. A lot of it was in that massive 2 hour long version that we didn't see. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's a real shame. It's a real shame. But so the cast are wonderful. Connery has a great time. Ralph Fiennes is too handsome for words. Uma Thurman looks lovely. Um, just no, just no.
Yeah, it does make me wish we had like we see the alternative reality where Ray Fiennes is the Bond of the 90s. Does make me
Yes,
think. Does make me
yeah.
think. Oh,
We had
yeah.
him instead of Brosnan, or carried on from Brosnan, or kind of filled that gap.
I mean, he would have been a completely different Bond. It would probably be a lot more like akin to the books, in a not maybe not as action heavy way,
Would he
maybe,
be more
but
Dalton-esque in his Bond approach? Because I mean,
may,
Fiennes is more of like an actor, isn't he? Like
not
Dalton.
as hard edged. I don't think, but
I
No,
don't think so either. I think what we've never had is I always watch Bond through the prism of it's an action franchise. So when people talk about Craig's portrayal, I'm sorry, he's bang on in Casino Royale. If you forget the physical description and just go, does he give you the essence of what the book is if you are trying to present it to an action friendly audience? Yes. But what I would say is we've never quite had the literary bond where we've got someone who feels a little bit public school, a little bit arrogant, but with a few human flaws as well. Not the I'm the best at everything ever.
we'll
But
see
yeah,
what
there
we've
we
got with
go.
the new game coming out First Light, and also we've got new
Yeah.
Bond
And talking of which,
whenever it's come out. So we'll see what happens
talking of
there.
which, we will go back to the Bond theme in a minute and the book themes next time out because Moonraker from memory, and I've not read it for a while. It was one of my very favorite books. It's nothing like the film, so I
I've
look
recently
forward to
just like
that.
the other day finished rereading it. Yeah,
Okay, good.
fabulous.
Well, I've
Yeah,
got
I'm
to
looking
catch
forward
up,
to
but I
it.
will. Okay. As for social media, you can find me at the Pasty Kid 1976.
you can find me at Cinematronics. You can find all the old episodes on Podbean. If you just search, you can find it on
You can
any of.
find us at Expect Us to Talk. We live on socials, X, Facebook, and also YouTube, where you can find all our episodes that do you expect us to talk.
All in nice playlists as well. So if you just want to watch the Batman episodes, you just pick them. But I say watch, there's nothing to watch, it's a still image. But if you want to listen to us through that forum, we do break it down into playlists. So you can just pick the topic or the series you liked.
It's very
Yeah.
convenient.
I mean, I mostly
Yeah, it's a
listen.
convenient arrangement.
I mostly listen to YouTube rather than watch it most of the time.
Me
Yeah,
too.
same. Yeah,
Well, I
same.
do thanks to you because you put me on the family plan.
Yes,
So
it's a
turns
lot
out
more.
we're
It's a lot more
related.
convenient. It's a lot more convenient,
Well,
isn't
you
it?
say
Very
you put
convenient
me on it. You
arrangement.
put you put the podcast on it. I use
Yeah.
the podcast account as my basically personal account. All right. That's it from me. You
Yeah,
want to
as I
sign us
say.
off?
Yes. So, do you expect to talk? We'll return with Moonraker Book Review.